What is going on, everyone? Welcome to today's live stream. Happy Tuesday, or actually, what would that be? Wednesday for some of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We are streaming twice a day moving forward. It's going to be a little bit hectic, with this whole entire holiday season, but I will go ahead and strive to go ahead and do my best of streaming twice a day. That way, so we can go ahead and capture a few of you from different, time zones, different locations. And that way, so we could go ahead and spend more time together. As I mentioned, we are definitely going to go ahead and be testing this out, see how we do. But I do believe that live streaming twice a day will definitely go ahead and help me connect with more of you. And second of all, it will definitely go ahead and help us reach a higher audience as well. So definitely looking forward to that. If you are now tuning into the live stream, go ahead and smash that like button for me. So let me go ahead and double check if we are officially live on my end. Let me go ahead and check. Give me 1 second. If we are live, go ahead and smash that like button for me and comment down below that we are officially live. So let me go ahead and post my link down below. In the meantime, we could go ahead and get a few of you coming in as well. So I do see we do have about 2 viewers right now. Go ahead and smash that like button and comment down below if you could go ahead and hear me pretty well. How's it going, Happy? Thank you for tuning in. As always, showing some love and support. Let me go ahead and post my link down below, and let's go ahead and get this going. Alrighty, so have my link posted as usual. Go ahead and support the channel by using my MEXC link down below. $20,000 in sign-up bonuses, no KYC, and literally takes less than 3 seconds to create an account. I already see a few of you tuning in right now. Go ahead and smash that like button right now for me. About 3 viewers watching, only 2 likes. So let's go ahead and get that up and running. Let me know if the audio is solid. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about, hey Sil, how's it going? We're going to go ahead and talk about Pepe 2.0. Did it find its bottom? I know earlier we were live streaming. I wasn't able to go ahead and get TradingView to work. I actually got everything fixed, so we should go ahead and be up and ready to go ahead and analyze these charts a little bit more deeply. So definitely excited to go ahead and be here with all of you here today. As I mentioned, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Go ahead and comment down below where you are tuning in from. I know I always get a lot of love from Amsterdam and the UK, so definitely go ahead and show some love down below and let me know where you're tuning in from. Let's go ahead and start off with the charts. I'm going to go ahead and wait a couple more seconds right now as we go ahead and get everything up and running. Let me go ahead and get out the remaining of the links that I need, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about some TA. So welcome everybody tuning in right now. Definitely excited to go ahead and be here. My whole main goal this year is to go ahead, this coming up year, is not only to go ahead and end the year strong, but as well would be ideally to go ahead and live stream twice a day, right? That's always been my goal. So the more viewers, the more the more people that tune in onto the live streams definitely does encourage me, and definitely does give me a sign that we should go ahead and be live streaming twice a day. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the charts up and running while we go ahead and wait for a few of you to go ahead and join. Comment down below if you're having a good day today. Smash that like button for me. As I always mention, it does help support the channel, and a lot of new things are coming into the channel as well. So definitely excited to go ahead and share those moments. And we're very close to getting fully monetized as well. So we should be actually reaching that goal hopefully by the end of this week. That'd be a really good way to go ahead and start the next month, right, of December. So let's go ahead and get it. 6 viewers currently right now. Let's go ahead and smash that like button for me. But we're going to go ahead and get started. 7 likes, so we're good. So we're going to go ahead and start off with some technical analysis on Pepe 2.0. Is this finally the bottom? As I mentioned, we did talk about it earlier today, but we weren't able to go ahead and get TradingView up and running. So feel free to go ahead and comment down below any other projects you want me to go ahead and do some technical analysis on. My point of view, we're going to go ahead and talk about. But as always, as I mentioned, support the channel by using my MEXC link down below. $20,000 in sign-up bonuses, no KYC, and literally takes less than 3 seconds to create an account. So let's go straight into it, because that's exactly the reason why you're tuning in here today, right? I don't want to go ahead and waste your time, so let's go straight into it. So taking a look at Pepe 2.0, I finally got my indicator. My favorite indicator to go ahead and use the Smart Money Concept by Lux Algo. It's actually completely free on TradingView. If you create an account, you could use all the way up to two indicators, and then I typically go ahead and just use the RSI. I like the SMC because it's technically just the supply and demand zones, so it shows you where a lot of whales and a lot of buying volumes coming in, and it's been pretty fairly respected, right? And also follows a lot of the Fibonacci retracement. So for me personally, I like to go ahead and use this. This is more of a lazy way to go ahead and look for, like, you know, the support and resistance and all of that. It's kind of a more quicker way to go ahead and analyze the charts if you want to go ahead and enter a quick trade. But looking at the 15-minute chart, we do see that we are actually in around a buying zone right now, which is around the 5 area. Typically what we could go ahead and see when we see zones like this is that if we don't have enough volume to break to the upside, which is around the 5.9, we are going to go ahead and get rejected. And possibly if we do lose the support at 5.12, we could be expecting Pepe and reaching the 4.2 zones. So around the 4 area could be a possibility that Pepe 2.0 could be reaching, at least on the 15-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, we're also seeing some sort of lower lows. We do see that we are still in some sort of downtrend. So until we go ahead and get that full-on confirmation that we are now back on an uptrend, then we could go ahead and say safely now it might be a good time to go ahead and enter a trade. But I'm crossing my fingers that we do go ahead and dump down below to the zone right here at the 4.3, because I really do believe that's going to be a really good buying opportunity for plenty of you, and it's definitely going to go ahead and capture the attention of a lot of whales as well, right? So 30-minute chart is looking pretty good. The 1 hourly about the same. It looks like we are now approaching that area of resistance right now, and as I mentioned, we could go ahead and expect it, you know, reaching back to the levels of the 4.6 and hopefully down to the zone right here, down to the 3.8. So just be very, very careful if you are looking to go ahead and long this market right now. I'd just go ahead and wait, because in my opinion, I do think that with this Binance whole entire news, this definitely could go ahead and change, and we could definitely go ahead and get more bearish news, which would go ahead and panic the markets, which in my opinion is still really bullish. I think the whole entire thing with Binance right now, it's actually a good thing. I think it's a really good thing to go ahead and buy the dips right now. Obviously none of this is financial advice, but looking at the 4 hourly, we do see that we are at a very strong area of support, which is around the 4.6. And as I mentioned, if we do go ahead and lose a zone right here, then we are going to go ahead and reach down to the 2s and the 3s. I don't think these are the zones we're going to go ahead and reach, but anything is possible. I mean, considering the fact that we pumped like freaking crazy and we have dumped a little bit over already 50%. So in my opinion, I think Pepe 2.0 is looking bullish. Nothing to go ahead and panic about. I know a lot of you did get wrecked on this massive wick to the upside. I mean, that's about a 69% freaking dump. But this is the reason why I always mention you never want to go ahead and be entering positions around the zone right here or the zone right here. It's typically really risky. You definitely want to go ahead and be buying in around these zones right here where there is a lot of fear in the market, right? You want to be buying the bottoms and selling the tops. You never want to be buying around these areas right here, because you have a higher risk and your reward actually gets smaller. So you always want to be buying around the zones right here. Typically, personally for me, I like to go ahead and see some sort of consolidation. I never go ahead and go all in, because realistically I don't know where the freaking bottom is. So what I like to go ahead and do is I like to go ahead and slowly average my way into my position, meaning I go ahead and put in, let's say right here for example, $100. I add another $100 right here, another $100 right here, and if I'm feeling really bullish after we go ahead and get this breakout right here, let's say for example, that's where I would go ahead and throw in, let's say $500. All right, so this is typically the way I trade. I never time any bottom. For me, it's very, very difficult, especially when you're using leverage. It's really easy for you to go ahead and get wrecked if you are trying to time a bottom. Let's say for example, if you thought this was a bottom, you would definitely go ahead and get wrecked on this little dump, which is not even that big of a dump if you actually measure that. I mean, it kind of is 51% dump. It's actually pretty big. But let's say for example, if you were to go ahead and buy this top right here and you only bought in about $100, now you have the chance of buying right here, buying right here, buying right here, and then hopefully go in all right here before the massive breakout to the upside, and then cash out around the zone right here. So instead of timing the market, I would usually go ahead and average my way in. I never time the market or the tops or the bottoms, and that's why for that reason I like to go ahead and average my position in slowly, and then slowly go ahead and sell my position as it's going up. Right now I do believe this is the market you want to go ahead and enter a quick trade in and out. You do not want to be holding on to these positions, because kind of like the news that we got in today about the whole entire Binance and CZ, then we have these market corrections, right? And I think it's really healthy, but overall right now we're seeing the market react really well. Looks like a lot of people did actually go ahead and buy the dip, and you know, it's actually a lot better than I thought. I thought there was going to be a little bit more panic. I would like to go ahead and see more panic, right? Because we definitely do need a cool down in this market, but overall it's looking pretty good in my opinion. If we go ahead and take a look at the daily, we do see that we are approaching some sort of a cup and handle pattern right now as well, and we are looking at that area of support, right? So welcome Vasilio, how's it going? That Pepe 2.0 2.0 drop was terrifying. Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you go ahead and answered it from over here, I know a lot of you did get wrecked. As I mentioned, this is typically what's very normal in the meme coin sector, seeing 60 to 80% dumps and then seeing freaking 200 to 300% pumps, right? Basilio says, hey John, how's it going, bro? I hope you're having a good one today. But overall, Pepe 2.0 is looking really bullish, in my opinion. I'm really hoping that it does consolidate here for a while, because I'm still waiting on my paycheck to go ahead and come through in order for me to go ahead and load up on my position. I am looking to go ahead and load up on my Pepe 2, because I did mention, I did lose over $20,000 on Grok last week, and I'm tapped out of funds. So I'm definitely hoping that we have some sort of consolidation before we even break up to the upside, because I do believe that Pepe 2.0 is still bullish overall. Everything's looking really healthy. Obviously, if we do go ahead and lose this area of support, then that whole entire narrative of what we're talking about, a possible 95 million market cap and above, it's going out the door if we do lose the support around the 3774, right? And I also did mention that we are at a very critical area of resistance. Psychologically, the area of resistance is the 40 million market cap, right? So we currently have dumped about a little bit over 50%, currently sitting at 22.99 million market cap, 1.72 million of liquidity, and we have seen a decrease of holders. Let's go ahead and take a look at Etherscan, see what we could go ahead and find. It says 0.033. I don't know how many freaking holders we lost, but I would say roughly, I think we lost about 1,000, because I know we were close to almost reaching 13,000, right? So let's just say roughly we lost about almost 1,000 freaking holders, and a lot of people panicked. So in order for Pepe 2.0 to go ahead and continue to go to the upside, we definitely do need to go ahead and get more wells, and we definitely need to go ahead and get more holders, right? We need to go ahead and get those holders that are looking to go ahead and diamond hand all this. I wouldn't suggest that method. I would suggest the method of entering a trade in and out, especially if you're using leverage. You could definitely go ahead and take advantage of this volatility of the market to the upside and to the downside. So you have to be very, very careful. But overall, I think this is a time of the market that you want to go ahead and enter a trade in and out. I wouldn't suggest no diamond hands, because realistically, no one really knows what the top is. I really doubt this is the top. But because we did get the the sentiment of the whole entire Binance, we're going to go ahead and see in the next coming days if there's any more negativity coming in around the space. But realistically, everybody reacted pretty well. The only people that kind of I think feared and panicked were the freaking crypto influencers, right? I think those were the people that really did panic. But besides that, looks like a lot of people did take advantage of buying the dip, because they know that we have a lot more bullish scenarios coming in, like the Bitcoin halving. We also have a possibility of a weaker dollar, and we also have Bitcoin dominance kind of slowly shifting. So I think there's more pros and cons that people kind of didn't really even react to it, but we're going to go ahead and see how the market really reacts in the next coming days. For a lot of you, there is going to be some holidays coming in, especially here in the US. There will be some holidays coming in. I guess Black Friday is a holiday. I don't even freaking know, honestly. Some sort of deal that they have for like Christmas shopping and all that. But I do expect a lot of volatility these next coming days. And as I mentioned, as long as we go ahead and continue to hold the areas that we're at, there's nothing to go ahead and fear about Pepe 2.0 or the whole entire crypto market. In my opinion, the market's looking really, really bullish, and we're actually going to go ahead and look at that right now together. So definitely go ahead and smash that like button if you appreciate the news that I'm coming in with. As I mentioned, I think right now, taking a look at the market, multiple times during the day or night, depending on the time you're watching this, is definitely really important in order to go ahead and stay up to date with the market. How's it going, Tiago Martinez from Brazil? How's it going? I hope you're having a good one today. Yoga Matt, great to see you here today, bro. That Pepe dump was okay. I was selling the whole way up, and I was afraid I sold too much. That's perfect, man. Now you just made money on your way up with Pepe 2.0, and now you're gonna go ahead and re-enter a position with a bigger bag with a lower risk, right? And that was actually the method I was using when I was trading Pepe 2.0, and the way I was actually able to turn $120 all the way up to $20,000 was because of Pepe 2.0. What the thing that got me wrecked was really because of Grok. They got exploited and all of that. But I really wish I would have stuck to Pepe 2.0, because Pepe 2.0 has been respecting a lot of levels, even though it has been heavily manipulated. I think there's a lot of more upside than downside, in my opinion, and there's literally almost like free money to be made right now with Pepe 2.0. And if you are actually looking to go ahead and leverage trade Pepe 2.0 all the way up to, I think possibly now 20x. I think they might have, dropped it down from what I've heard, but you could go ahead and use MEXC, which is one of my preferred platforms. As I mentioned, we are currently giving all the way up to $20,000 in sign-up bonuses, no KYC, and literally takes less than 3 seconds to create an account. That is one of the best ways to go ahead and help support the channel until we go ahead and get monetized. But Pepe 2.0 is looking good overall. Market's looking pretty bullish in my opinion. If we actually go ahead and see, obviously the stock market's not open right now until the next couple hours, but we do see, gold taking a slight little hit, silver slightly rising, and we do see the forex markets, slightly pumping as well. So I do believe that this week it's definitely going to be a volatile week. There is going to be a lot of buying opportunities. Looking at the crypto bubbles right now, we do see most of these tokens, currently down at the moment, but in my opinion, I think this might be a buying to dip opportunity. I ideally would like to go ahead and see more red in the market in order for us to continue to push to the upside. But as I mentioned, realistically, this market could continue to go up forever if it wants to. Obviously, it's not the most healthiest, but it definitely could do whatever the F it wants to do, because it's crypto, you know what I mean? It could do whatever it wants. So that's I guess that's the beauty of it, right? But looking at the fear and greed chart, we do see that we currently are at 62, which we are at greed. I would like to go ahead and enter the place of neutral and around fear. I think during these zones right here, you definitely want to be buying, obviously not financial advice, but you definitely want to be buying during the fearful moments in the market. As I mentioned, you want to go ahead and buy when everybody's fearful. That's when you want to start getting greedy, and be greedy when everybody's fearful, right? Or vice versa, fearful, greedy, greedy, fearful. There you go. So vice versa, you know what I mean? So you definitely want to be buying the dip when there's panic, there's blood in the streets, almost literally, and you want to go ahead and be selling when people are being very bullish about the market, right? This is where you want to go ahead and start selling around this zone right here. But right now, overall, it's looking pretty good. Ideally, as I mentioned, I would like this week to be a consolidating period. Hopefully, we could go ahead and retrace a little bit more, because I do believe that some of these altcoins and meme tokens are overvalued at the moment, and if we continue to pump even higher, we could go ahead and expect higher dumps, right? And that's the way a lot of people get wrecked. Yes, you can make a lot of money to the upside, but the higher we go, literally just skyrocketing and never having some sort of support, the higher we dump. And then we have dumps like these, where you go ahead and dump 80% in the market while everybody's bullish, right? I mean, look at that dump right there. That's about almost a 69% dump, as I mentioned. But if you bought in the bottom, this was a really nice trade. That was about a 200% pump, which is a 2x. So if you are trading this on leverage, these are some crazy gains. So until we go ahead and find the support, I mean, if you go ahead and reach all the way to the top to its previous all-time high, you're talking about a 3x. So you can literally be swing trading this market. We can go ahead and do a 2x, it dumps 80%, buy the dip, and then rinse and repeat. And that's the best way, in my opinion, without having to risk your bag way too much when it comes to trading. You don't want to be holding on to these positions too long on the leverage trading side. Moon Joker, how's it going, bro? Grok, a good entry to buy. We're definitely going to take a look at Grok right now. Moon Joker says, I manage to swing trade from time to time and start from owning 5 or 50,000 Grok tokens to 250,000 tokens. Nice, bro. It's a really nice trade. I think Grok overall is definitely going to be a token that's going to reach new all-time highs, especially with the whole entire narrative of Elon. Just people tend to love those freaking tokens for whatever reason. Let's go ahead and see where Grok is at right now. There's a lot of FUD on Grok, so like for me personally, I'm probably not going to be touching Grok until I go ahead and feel some sort of confirmation, or maybe I might not even touch Grok, to be honest, because Grok is what got me freaking wrecked, dude. If it wasn't for Grok, I'd probably still have my positions open, honestly, but realistically probably not, right? Because the market did take a massive dump today. It wasn't too massive, but if you were over leveraged, that little dump that we had today would have definitely wrecked you. But looking at Grok, we do see that we have found some sort of support. So as long as we continue to hold this area right here, it's the same thing that goes. We could go ahead and see an upside if we do go ahead and break through the 9727, which is actually a very strong area of resistance. We have seen it test multiple times. I think Grok might go ahead and dump a little bit more. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it does look like some sort of head and shoulders pattern, and right now it's consolidating until it goes and breaks above the 9 and starts holding this area of support. That means the head and shoulders pattern is no longer in place and it has completed its route. So Grok is looking pretty good too as well. And as always, if you want to go ahead and support the channel, make sure to smash that like button for me. It's completely free, doesn't cost you anything, and that's the best thing, right? That's the best way to support me. But also go ahead and feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at ALTCOIN. Feel free to DM me right now. Since the channel is very small, you have like the best opportunity to go ahead and communicate with one another with literally no cost. And if the channel, or not if, when the channel does take off, because we have already formed that, you know, that relationship, that friendship, you'll be able to get access to me pretty much anytime. So definitely go ahead and take advantage of that. Since the channel it's currently small, I know that as soon as we get some sort of bull run happening, the channel is definitely going to go ahead and reach its all-time highs. Same thing with the market, right? But let's go ahead and take a look at CoinMarketCap, see how CoinMarketCap is currently looking at the moment. CoinMarketCap right now at the moment, we do see some decent right now, neutral. I wouldn't go ahead and really be too confident in this market just yet. As I mentioned, just wait for these next coming days if you are looking to go ahead and enter some positions. I did mention I am looking at the higher cap altcoins such as Solana, you know, the XRPs, the chain links. I do believe that a lot of these higher altcoins are getting destined for some sort of breakout to the upside, most specifically forming a cup and handle pattern. I mean, look at this, looking at the daily, at the 7-day, you do see that, you know, Chainlink is getting ready to go ahead and break through double the price of where it's at right now. So we could go ahead and see another run up coming soon in the next, I would say anywhere between the next 2 to 3 weeks. So definitely do not go ahead and over leverage yourself right now. I do think that we could be possibly in another, you know, consolidating period for the next coming days, and then before the next massive breakout. So I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the market. So definitely make sure not to go ahead and lose all your funds, or else you're going to be stuck like me, where, you know, you have no more money left because you got wrecked. Now you're waiting for freaking payday to happen, while you're looking at all these buying the dip opportunities. You're like, fuck, like I wish I had extra money on the side to go ahead and buy these dips, right? So definitely I think there's a lot of money to be made still in this market, but also a lot of money to be lost. So just be very, very careful moving forward. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. I know there's a lot of news with the whole entire Binance thing. Let's go ahead and check if there's anything that has changed. I really want to know what kind of money laundering violations they violated. You know how we talked about that today. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this right here. Maybe this is what it is. What Binance allegedly did wrong. Federal prosecutors unsealed court records on Tuesday alleging that Binance, led by Zhao, process transactions by customers who operate in illicit mixing services and launder procedures of dark net transactions, hacks, ransomware, scams. Prosecutors alleged that Binance had lax anti-money laundering procedures. This alleged misconduct paved the way for Binance to become king of crypto exchanges, prosecutors say, in part because of this scheme and because the defendant prioritized growth, market shares, and profits over compliance. Binance became the largest cryptocurrency in the world, knowing allegedly to register as any money service, willfully violated the bank's Secrecy Act by failing to implement maintain an effective anti-money laundering program, and willfully caused violations of U.S. economic sanctions. This is all bullshit, dude. So now we actually have, see, I kind of figured, I did mention that you know, the only kind of money laundering I expected of, I did mention on earlier's live stream, I did mention it was possible that either he was, you know, laundering money for either a government or an entity or some sort of, like, you know, group, and it seems like really what happened was that they didn't follow any anti-money laundering procedures, especially with Binance.us, and I guess that's the reason why the US is going after them. Honestly, I think this is kind of bullish news for Binance and CZ, to be honest. I think you know, his the fact that he's only, paying a few $1,000,000 or a few billion, whatever the case is, this guy's a multi-billionaire, very successful in this space, and looks like he's actually heading back to, focusing on DeFi and actually stepping down as CEO, which I think overall is definitely going to be a bullish thing for Binance. I think, in my opinion, the U.S. is really trying to look for something to go after CZ, especially everything with, Gary Gensler trying to be part of Binance, and, CZ going after FTX, which, FTX was pretty much endorsed by Gary Gensler. So it kind of seems like it's more of a power trip, in my opinion. And I think CZ, took the hit and pretty much stepped down as CEO, maybe because he also got, he had no other option. And I think that was one of the best ways to pretty much, I guess, deal with the U.S. As I mentioned, the U.S. just loves to be a part of everything and likes to go ahead and get their hands of everything, especially if they know they're not making money. I don't know I guess it makes sense because he didn't follow the anti-money, laundering laws and all that. And I guess that's how they're getting him. But it was, from what we're seeing right now, news could go ahead and change later on in the next coming days. And this is the reason why I'm saying you have to be very, very careful. But even if you go ahead and read this right here, he mentioned a message that one compliance employee sent in 2019 that said that the crypto exchange got a banner that says, "Is washing drug money too hard these days? Come to Binance. We got cake for you." By failing to comply with the U.S. laws, Binance made it easier for criminals to move their stolen funds and illicit procedures on its exchange. And it says right here, the U.S. the U.S. Justice Department in August unsealed federal charges against the co-founders of one such service, Tornado Cash, accusing them of moving $1 billion in cryptocurrencies for criminals. One of the Tornado Cash co-founders has pleaded not guilty in charges, while the others remain at large. Officials say they were aggressive with, all this bullshit right here. Let's see, does anything have to do with Binance, or are they just adding this shit there? Either way, this is kind of the bullshit that's going on right now in the space. I think most people are kind of bullish about it. I think this is the most bullish news you could go ahead and get with crypto, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and see how Binance is doing overall. I mean, Binance has taken a hit, 11% dump, which is not crazy. You could be expecting, it could have been a lot worse. But let's go ahead and look at the charts, because I did mention a while back that BNB was looking pretty bearish, and it did look like it was able to go ahead and fall below below $200, right? And we're gonna go ahead and see if that's actually what's going on right now with Binance. I mean, it looks like a lot of people are buying this dip, but we are looking at a very strong area of resistance around the 250. Ideally, in my opinion, I think buying Binance around 200 and below would be like the most bullish thing. But it looks like they're just going after exchanges right now. I mean, Binance being the number one, I'm sure they're probably going to go ahead and push, some sort of US exchange to be the number one. For example, like Coinbase, or, those kind of exchanges, which are heavily regulated as well. But it just seems like the US wants to go ahead and be atop of this and doesn't want any other company besides any crypto exchange that's in the US to be number one. So I feel like this is really an excuse. And it's especially the whole entire thing with FTX, right? It's just complete bullshit overall. Like, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to understand what was going on with FTX. I don't know why it took that long to go ahead and investigate and, proceed with everything. But CZ, just decided to go ahead and take the hit and move on. And I think that's really really good for him, and a lot of people are actually encouraging him and really bullish about the whole entire narrative. So I wouldn't panic too much. I think this is bullish for the news. Obviously is giving us a sign that the US is seeing threat into cryptocurrencies, and they're trying to do whatever they can in their hands to go ahead and be the leader in cryptocurrencies, which we know the US is definitely falling behind that, and there's a lot of other countries that have taken that lead, right? And it looks like the US is definitely in a panic state, and this is the reason why they're causing all this FUD in order to go ahead and get a lot of retail investors, especially the ones in the US, to go ahead and get wrecked, sell their funds in order for them to go ahead and buy the dip, because they do know that as soon as we do go ahead and get all these good news, which is the Bitcoin halving, the ETF, all of this information, all this I guess good bullish events, I believe cryptocurrencies will have one of the biggest bull runs in history. But this also has to go ahead and do with the dollar collapsing, and I think the US is starting to see that the US is losing its power, right? Its dominance in this space overall, and especially the whole entire global economical side of things, right? Because a lot of these countries are like, you know what, we don't need the US. We could actually go ahead and transact without them. We don't need the US dollar. And I believe this is the reason why the US is coming after these crypto exchanges, coming after these companies, coming out after certain people, because the US sees threat to them, right? And the US is really left behind, as I mentioned, compared to all these countries. And the US just loves to be involved with everything. You know, they want to have their hands on everything, they want to be part of everything, and they definitely want to go ahead and get their cut, right? And I think this is exactly what's going on. They know that cryptocurrencies are a threat to the US dollar, and they do know that, you know, BRICS and including all these other nations will be able to do perfectly fine without the US dollar, right? And that's their biggest freaking threat. And this is the reason why I'm extremely bullish into crypto, because I mentioned that in order for cryptocurrencies to begin to go ahead and pump to the upside, we need to see the US dollar collapse. And then once we start to see the US dollar collapse, we're going to go ahead and see the stock market collapse. We're going to see, you know, the whole entire US economy collapse. And then we're going to go ahead and start seeing the whole global markets collapse. And then all that money is going to shift, moving from the stock market all the way up to cryptocurrencies and luxury assets, due to the fact that, you know, the stock market will be crashing. And that's exactly what cryptocurrency needs right now at the moment. We need the dollar to collapse, and we need this to go ahead and finally decouple from the market, and that's going to be like the most freaking bullish thing ever for crypto in general. So I do believe that long term crypto is looking good. Short term, we could be entering some sort of bearish scenario. I mean, we are seeing the DXY currently at a massive buy area, which is around the 103. We could potentially go ahead and pump back up to even the 104, or even touch back to the 106 before coming down. But ideally, I do believe we could go ahead and see some sort of resistance around the 104, see the DXY trend up for the next coming days, see cryptocurrencies take a hit. Then we're going to go ahead and see it get rejected, fall down below 103, and then enter down to the 101. And if we do lose the 101 on the DXY, this is going to be some freaking bullish territories for cryptocurrencies, and we could be seeing, you know, Bitcoin surpassing, you know, $40,000 and above, and you know, the whole entire market is going to go crazy. But we also have to go ahead and be aware that the DXY will be entering, you know, an oversold territory, which is typically a time where the DXY does reverse. But I think long term, if you want to call it, or short term, I don't know if it's considered long term, short term, I think the DXY has to enter these zones right here, around back into the 120s to the 150s. I think that's definitely going to go ahead and wreck the market and the whole entire, you know, crypto market overall, and the stock market. But I think that's needed before we could go ahead and really fall, because if we could go ahead and have the dollar, you know, collapse around these zones right here, which is around the 150 or even higher, that means we're gonna have the biggest pump. I don't want to say the biggest pump in history, but we'll definitely be having, you know, Bitcoin probably passing over $80,000 and above, because now we're going to have, you know, the big corporations, especially corporations in the US, now adopting blockchain services. You know, we have PayPal, we have a lot of these banks now trying to catch on before the next wave, and their whole goal is to go ahead and wreck everybody in order for them to go ahead and get the last dip before one of the biggest freaking bull runs ever with cryptocurrency, where, you know, it's going to be one of the largest wealth exchanges ever. I don't know when that's going to be, though. I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and tell you that it's going to be exactly by, you know, July 26th of 2027 or whatever the case is, because I don't know. And I don't think, realistically, no one really knows besides, you know, the people that are manipulating this market. But overall, I think I'm long-term bullish in cryptocurrencies, but just be very careful during this time of the market, right? Especially with the meme tokens. When you do have these higher risk, typically these meme tokens dump, you know, 50 to 80%, and typically are done with, right? But we did mention that usually during Q1, we do see some sort of bullishness in the market. With cryptocurrencies, we had altcoin season back in, like, I think it was like 2-3 years ago, when we had Shiba pump. We had the whole entire Dogecoin pump during SML. It was during Q1, if a lot of you could remember, and we actually had multiple pumps throughout Q1. We actually had it in the beginning, and then we had it towards around April, right before the end of Q1. So overall, the whole entire market is looking really bullish in my opinion. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin dominance and see how everything's looking. Go ahead and comment down below if you have any other questions about what we're talking about. So I'm saying we could expect some sort of dump in the market. It doesn't mean it has to be. You know, usually even Bitcoin doesn't like to follow the DXY all the time. Sometimes the DXY dumps. I mean pumps and Bitcoin pumps, right? And we don't want the DXY to pump. We actually want a weaker dollar in order for cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin to go ahead and pump, right? But we're going to go ahead and see how the DXY reacts moving forward as well. So looking at Bitcoin dominance, let's go ahead and take a look at the monthly. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get enough data because the month is obviously not over, but we do see that with the Bitcoin dominance right now, we are currently down for the month. And I did mention that typically we have two zones, right, where we have a lot of these altcoins pump, and then we also have, you know, where the meme coins usually typically pump as well. So we're gonna go ahead and draw that out real quick. Give me 1 second. So we got that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and change the colors of these two. Make them look somewhat cool, right? Alrighty, so there we go. So typically they say that when, you know, Bitcoin dominance reaches around 70%, this is what they say. I'm not sure if it's true, but this is what I've heard, that usually typically when Bitcoin reaches, you know, the 70% dominance, this is usually where altcoin season begins. We're gonna go ahead and see if that's true. I've never, you know, all I've done is hear about it. I don't really remember, like I wasn't watching Bitcoin dominance chart at the time because I didn't even know Bitcoin dominance the way it worked. But from what I heard from experienced traders, they usually say that 70% is where altcoin season begins. But what I do know that I've noticed, and you know, obviously it doesn't mean past history is going to repeat itself, but we've noticed that typically when Bitcoin drops below 48%, that's when meme coin season actually begins. Because during this time right here, back in 2021, around October, November, this is a time where the Shiba Inus and all those meme tokens were pumping, where you had freaking billions of market cap coming in through the roof, right? But we also had a whole different scenario at the time. We had a lot of free money being printed into the economy, which, you know, kind of makes sense of why a lot of these meme tokens were going through the roof. A lot of people had this, you know, whole entire gambling mentality. So we could also go ahead and say that's the reason why. But going into 2022, we also had another meme coin run around May. So I could go ahead and tell you that I've noticed, not saying that this is 100% guaranteed, because I thought we were going to go ahead and have Bitcoin dominance actually drop below here, but we actually broke through that resistance, right? So, but I've noticed that within, you know, 2021 and 2022, when Bitcoin reached the dominance below 50%, this is where we had a lot of these meme tokens run up, right? So for all of you that love these fucking meme coins as much as I do, and where you want to make the freaking crazy life-changing wealth on meme tokens, where you can put in $100 or even $1,000 and turn them into a couple $1,000,000, whatever the case is, usually typically is when Bitcoin reaches around the 48 to 50% dominance. And if you actually go back with the dominance, you know, around April, you see Bitcoin was around the 48 to the 50% dominance. And guess what was going on in April 2023? We had the whole entire meme coin season with original Pepe and Pepe 2.0. So this is where we had that kind of run where, you know, where Pepe made its all-time highs of like the craziest market cap at the time, being in a super bearish, you know, market. And we also had, you know, Pepe 2.0 hit 95 million market cap within the first week. We had a refund tokens. We had a whole bunch of meme tokens taking off during this time right here. So I could pretty much almost confirm that I've noticed it in the last 3 years already total, 2021, 2022, and 2023, when Bitcoin dominance reached these levels of 48 to, let's say, 45 or 50% dominance. That's when we had some sort of meme coin season, right? So we're going to go ahead and see where Bitcoin goes. I do think that, let's just go ahead and say it's a coincidence that, you know, Bitcoin has reached these areas below, and a lot of these freaking meme tokens have pumped during those times. Let's just say it's a coincidence, right? Let's go ahead and see if this year, 2024, when we enter 2024, if we do go ahead and see Bitcoin dominance drop below around the 48 to 50%, and we have some sort of meme coin season happen, then I would say positively that, you know, there is some sort of correlation with Bitcoin dominance falling below 50% and creating some sort of meme coin season, right? Which would make sense because, you know, once Bitcoin, you know, dominance kind of slowly goes down, that means there's risk on into the market, right? More people, more investors, more whales, more traders are willing to go ahead and risk more money because they made their money off of Bitcoin, right? They made their money off of Bitcoin, whether it's longing or shorting, and now they're willing to go ahead and take that extra risk, throwing their money into a lot of these shit coins, right? So I would say safely, we've noticed, and I've noticed this whole entire market since 2021, these areas right here, and some sort of meme coin season has started, right? So we're gonna go ahead and confirm 2024. If it does touch these zones again, then we're gonna go ahead and say safely that every time Bitcoin reaches 50%, we always see some sort of meme coin season, right? And this is the thing with when it comes to a lot of this crypto stuff, and it comes to a lot of this charting, is that you really don't know until you start seeing the data, right? So the more you look at the charts, the more you understand the way it moves with certain news, with certain, you know, black swan events, the more you're able to understand this market and the more you're able to trade it, right? The more you spend more time with this kind of data, the easier it is for you and I to understand and have an upper hedge against other people that don't know what the heck is going on with crypto, right? This gives us a higher edge for sure if we're looking at certain areas like, you know, the 50% retracement on Bitcoin dominance, and let's say the 70% is where, you know, altcoin season begins. So we're gonna go ahead and start analyzing this. Obviously, it's not gonna be confirmed until we see it, but so far it's been confirmed 3 times. I think that's more than enough data, but let's go ahead and wait till 2024 and see if it does follow the 50% and below meme coin season starts. And we're going to go ahead and see if it's true when Bitcoin does reach around the 70% dominance. That's where the altcoin season begins, 50% meme coin season. So overall, market's looking pretty good. As I mentioned, I mean, you know, looking at Bitcoin on the monthly also looks pretty good once you start to go ahead and zoom out as well. So we're going to go ahead and see where Bitcoin goes overall. As I mentioned, I really don't trade Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just one of those assets that just, to me, I just personally don't like trading. Hopefully one of these days I get used to the volatility, but like, for example, like I wouldn't want to be buying Bitcoin right here. Ideally, you know, the goal when it comes to buying Bitcoin and longing Bitcoin where you make the most gains, it's around this zone right here. Right here, it's still possible, but it's a higher risk in my opinion. For that reason, I'm not touching Bitcoin until we actually go ahead and see some sort of movement or some sort of bullish scenario into the market. But right now, I'm not touching Bitcoin. If I do touch anything Bitcoin related, it will be Bitcoin Cash, and mostly trading a lot of these altcoins and a lot of these meme tokens, because that's where a lot of the volatility is. But Bitcoin's too boring for me. Hopefully one of these days, when I have a boatload of money, where I have over $100,000 plus, I'm able to go ahead and patiently trade, you know, Bitcoin. But in my opinion, Bitcoin is not going to go ahead and make you the crazy gains, especially if you're using like 10x leverage and you have a small account. I could be wrong. Maybe you could make a good decent amount of money with Bitcoin using 10x, or having, you know, $10,000 accounts using 10x or 20x leverage. I don't know, but to me, like the movement, in order for me to even make, you know, a couple grand off Bitcoin, I need to have a couple grand, and that's kind of the reason why I don't like, you know, trading Bitcoin so much. I like trading the riskier assets, because those are the assets that obviously come in with a higher risk, but also come in with a higher reward. And that's where you're actually able to convert, you know, $100 into a couple grand. And the whole goal is to eventually, you know, move on to these assets, right? Like, for example, like when I traded the $120 into $20,000, what I should have done differently in order to go ahead and still stay in the game and not be too risk on, I should have at least, you know, not only, you know, put some money to the side, but I should have also been focusing on trading the higher altcoins, right? Because the less volatility, lower risk does mean there's lower profits, but it's a lot safer to go ahead and trade, right? As compared to when you're trading the shit coins and the greed is very high, you're taking on a higher risk and the reward starts to go ahead and drop down, right? So I do believe that there's a time to go ahead and trade different assets in the market. And right now, in my opinion, I think altcoins are the safer bet, and meme tokens are the higher risk, higher reward, or I would say the higher risk and medium reward at the time, right? And altcoins right now are the medium risk and medium reward, in my opinion. So you definitely do want to be aware of how the market moves, and that's the way you go ahead and have a higher edge compared to other people. But yeah, let's go ahead and I mean, pretty much, I think we talked about everything. The DXY is approaching some very interesting areas. So we're going to go ahead and see how the DXY reacts in the next couple of days. As I mentioned, I do think the DXY will go ahead and get rejected at the 104. Typically, when the dollar index goes up higher, you know, we have cryptocurrencies take a hit and vice versa. So we wouldn't want to go ahead and see the dollar get stronger. We want a weaker dollar. And as I mentioned, I do think that once we have a dollar collapse, we're going to have, you know, cryptocurrencies go through the roof, make new all-time highs. And yeah, we're all going to be very, very, very freaking happy, making a boatload of money. But you know, that's the thing with the market. Everybody's happy when everybody's making money, but everybody's panicking and scared when people start getting wrecked, right? And that's part of the game, that's part of the cycle. It's nothing you could really, I don't want to say you can't control it, because you could control it, but as I mentioned, you really don't understand the market until you really start paying attention to it. And this is the reason why I always mention, you know, if you are an investor or trader in cryptocurrencies, you have to be taking this very, very serious. It could mean, you know, looking at the charts on the weekend, looking at the charts at your day off of work, or whatever the case is. It's kind of the work you have to go ahead and put in. The more you analyze, the more you understand the way it reacts to news, the more you're able to go ahead and have a higher edge, and you're able to go ahead and go long in certain events because you understand the way the market moves. And the only way you understand it is by looking at it, right? Spending time with it. How do you, you know, when you first meet someone, how do you know what they like and dislike? It's by spending time with that person, right? It's the same thing with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The more you spend time with an asset, the more you're going to go ahead and understand the way it moves, with the volatility, the psychology of it. And really the only way you either learn that is through someone like myself, I guess, through trial and error, or sorry, you either learn it through someone like myself telling you what I've been analyzing for years, or you do what I did. You start questioning everything, you start asking why, and you start looking for these answers, and then eventually you're going to go ahead and have a better edge. I'm not saying I'm the best trader, because I'm not, but I would definitely go ahead and say that I understand these markets better than most people. And that's just because I've been analyzing these markets for the last couple of years, and I've been seeing the way the markets react through certain events, especially the black swan events. We typically always see the market take a hit, then it rebounds, and then, you know, it bounces to the upside. So I'm not sure if any of you have ever used this indicator. This is called the Bitcoin rainbow chart. It usually tells you when is the time to go ahead and buy crypto overall, and what territories we're in. Let's go ahead and see if we can see it better on this one. I think it might be this link right here. And it usually tells you like what are the zones. It's not 100%, right? Or it could be. It's been something that's been getting tested for a while, but I wouldn't bet everything with this. But if you actually go ahead and look at this with Bitcoin, leading all the way back to 2012, you do see that with this rainbow chart, it does follow that. Once Bitcoin starts entering this blue zone, that's usually typically the time you want to be buying. It basically says it's a fire sale. It tells you right here, buy, accumulate, still cheap, hodl. Is this a bubble when you start entering the orange territory? FOMO, seriously sell, maximum bubble territory. And as you could actually go ahead and see, the rainbow chart has actually almost respected almost every time Bitcoin has reached the red on the rainbow, right? We do see right here back in 2011, we saw Bitcoin reach as high as, if I'm not mistaken, let's just say $32 or $20. And we see, you know, Bitcoin reaching, you know, up to $1,000 back in 2013, then taking a dip all the way down to, you know, a little bit over 50%. And we do see the same thing right here back in 2017 when Bitcoin approached, you know, $22,000 and then dumped all the way down around this zone. So you do see that they also have the halvings for every year. And currently right now, looking at Bitcoin, we are seeing that we are approaching a halving. And for every halving that Bitcoin has approached, we've always seen a massive pump to the upside, right? Not usually all the time right away. As you see right here, there was a halving around, let's just say, call it December, and then within the next couple months, let's just say a month and a half, we saw some sort of pump right here, right? Same thing with back in 2016. We see back around 2016, around June, July, was a Bitcoin halving, the second one. And then we do see a pump after, say June, July. We see like a pump after 5-6 months down the line. Same thing right here back in 2020. We see Bitcoin find its bottom around June. This is during the whole entire scandemic BS that happened. And then we do go ahead and see Bitcoin's halving around early April, then causing the market to go ahead and pump from April all the way up to December is where we kind of reach the top, if you want to call it. And then we go ahead and see that retracement down to touching the area one more time on November, and then that being a total fake out before the next pump. So it doesn't mean that as soon as we enter the halving, Bitcoin's going to instantly pump. It could take 3 months, 6 months, a year before we actually see some sort of movement to the upside. But I think overall, moving forward, we have a lot more bullish news more than anything. So I do think that right now we are in accumulating a phase. And right now, even with Bitcoin overall, I know a lot of you don't buy Bitcoin or don't own Bitcoin, but you need to understand the way Bitcoin moves, because once you understand how Bitcoin moves, you're going to be able to understand how a lot of these meme coins and a lot of these altcoins actually move, right? Unlike a lot of these freaking shitcoin influencers that you see on Twitter have no freaking idea when certain meme tokens or altcoins are going to go ahead and pump. All they know is altcoin season and meme coin season, but they don't know how and when and the way it works, right? Right now, I'm giving you all the data of what we could go ahead and look for. 50% dominance for meme coins to go ahead and dump or pump. And then we need Bitcoin dominance to reach 70% dominance in order for altcoin season to pump. So I'm definitely providing you the facts, the data. Obviously, it doesn't mean that past data is going to go ahead and guarantee, future results, but at least we have a higher edge compared to other, influencers in the space that are just pretty much talking all this bullshit about aligning stars with the moon, and that means that Pepe is gonna freaking pump. It's like, you really can't make any of this shit up. But a lot of these influencers in this space right now really don't know shit of what they're talking about, and are really just hype men, right? And I'm not here to go ahead and hype anybody up, right? Because I'm putting my money on the line too, and I want to go ahead and understand how we could go ahead and take advantage of this kind of volatility and opportunities in the market. And the only way we do that is by understanding this, right? It's not a guaranteed. It just gives us a better, higher probability than most traders and investors. And as I mentioned, we don't know until we actually go ahead and reach those areas. So we're going to go ahead and see if the rainbow chart is still respected after we hit the the other halving. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the rainbow chart is total BS. But so far it has been following it since as we go back all the way back to the early 2010s, where we see these zones reach and then we see them have massive sell-offs. So far it's been working. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, right? So just be very, very careful. Obviously, when it comes to technical analysis, it's all about having a better edge compared to the other person right next to you, having a higher probability. But overall, this website right here, blockchaincenter.net, I'm not endorsed or anything with them, but this is actually a platform that I've been using for a few years, and this is the way I'm actually able to analyze where things are going. And it actually is making it's making it a lot easier for a lot of us, right? Now they have the Altseason Index, and we could actually go ahead and see where altcoin season begins. And it says right here, altcoin season begins once Bitcoin dominance reaches 75%, and then Bitcoin season is when Bitcoin reaches 25%. So I'm almost kind of right. I don't want to say I'm correct, but I'm definitely around the line of what this chart is telling us, right? A few years back, I don't remember them having this altcoin season index when I was looking at the market. So this definitely does give us a validator to tell us that we are somewhat close to what our analysis is saying, right? And it is the way you want to go ahead, and you want to be entering the markets around when no one's interested. So when altcoin season really does begin, then you have the higher edge where you can turn a couple grand into a couple 100,000 or a couple million, right? But you never want to go ahead and be going into any of these without actually knowing the way the market moves. And this is the reason why I'm very big when it comes to understanding the data and the charts. As I mentioned, I've been back testing this for the last couple of years on Bitcoin, so none of this that I'm saying is 100% guaranteed, but so far I've been able to predict most tops and most bottoms, not 100%, but I've been able to have a little bit of a better edge compared to most people, due to the fact that I look at this data that's in front of us. Most of it's completely free, and all you have to do is just use your head. You know what I mean? Use your head and use some digging, and trust me, you'll find a lot of things. But you also have to go ahead and be very curious and ask yourself and look at past certain events to really see the way the market moves, right? Which a lot of people are not willing to do. You know, a lot of people are not willing to go ahead and put into work and understand how a lot of these tokens trade, the way it moves, the sentiment of the market. A lot of people just get lucky in the space and think they know everything and no longer continue with their education. And that's something that you definitely do not want to go ahead and do. You want to continue to always learn every freaking day as much as you can. That way, so you can have a better edge compared to the other person that thinks they know everything. And those are usually the people that get wrecked in crypto, right? So I mean, overall, crypto is looking good for us. Nothing to go ahead and complain on. Long-term bullish. You know, just be careful. I am short-term bearish. I do believe we could be expecting a little bit more volatility these next coming days with this whole entire Binance news. Maybe this is the bottom. I don't think so. But if it is, well then that's good. That's good, right? But as I mentioned, I don't know. I don't freaking know, and nobody really knows. So anybody that tells you that they know 100% this is the bottom or the top, they're full of it, right? No one really knows when the top or the bottom is. All we could go ahead and do is predict and have a higher probability than most. And pretty much with the analysis that we went with today, I'm long-term bullish in the market, and I'm short-term bearish. That's really what my analysis is. And being short-term bearish doesn't mean I'm going to go ahead and short this market. That just means that I'm going to go ahead and patiently wait on the sideline and then start buying the dips on a lot of these, you know, altcoins or a lot of these meme coins that are coming into the space, and take advantage of trading with leverage, but most specifically, you know, taking your profits, right? Because you don't want to be holding on to tokens for too long. I've noticed that as soon as you start holding a token for like a day, you know, literally the news switch in one day. You know, Monday everything was good, Sunday everything was good, and then next thing you know, Tuesday came in, and you know, this whole entire Binance news happens, and you know, the market dumps and people got wrecked. And that's the reason why I would rather just go ahead and buy and sell if you are swing trading this with leverage. And if you are looking for a platform to leverage trade on, go ahead and use, you know, MEXC. That's one of my preferred platforms. No KYC, takes less than 3 seconds to create an account, and you could actually go ahead and use all the way up to 200x leverage when it comes to futures. And it's actually one of the best ways to go ahead and help support the channel while we're still waiting to go ahead and get monetized, which we will be getting monetized very, very soon, all because of your help. So I really do appreciate that. I mean, that's pretty much it on my end. As I mentioned, just be careful, be on the lookout with this whole entire market. Feel free to reach out to me at ALTCOIN John on Twitter. Feel free to message me. This could be a buying the dip opportunity. I do believe we will be seeing some sort of still another dump. Ideally, I would like to see a 30 to 40% dump on a lot of these altcoins, but it doesn't mean we have to, right? Realistically, this market could pump forever. It doesn't matter whatever the fuck I want. It's gonna matter whatever the market wants to go ahead and do. But ideally, I think if we could go ahead and see a few more days of red or consolidation, this is definitely going to go ahead and have the market have more of a bullish uptrend moving forward, because we can't just go up forever. We need to go ahead and have some fear in this market, and I think right now we're getting overly greedy, and this is the reason why we're having these massive dumps and crashes when it comes to a lot of these meme tokens that we're trading, or a lot of these altcoins, right? So stay safe. As I mentioned, take profits, don't over leverage yourself, don't diamond hand none of this bullshit. I think this is a trading market, not a diamond hand market. But you know, as always, you can go ahead and do whatever your heart desires. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll go